good evening, wonderful ladies. Can we see you all on video, please? It would be nice to see your lovely faces. Can you imagine if I was talking to you and I didn't have my video on? Would you enjoy the session? I don't think so. I hope you can all hear me because Margaret was saying that she can't hear me. So, hi, Edith. Nice to see you.
Thank you. I can hear you very clearly. Yeah?
Fantastic. And I hope you can see me too.
Yes, yes, I can. Yes, I can. Okay.
Fantastic. All right, great. So, ladies, I believe we have all ladies on this group today. So, we are going to get started. And I was hoping the others could have joined on time. It would have been great, but never mind. So, as I requested, Lisa, I can also see you. It's so good to see you. And as I
Good to see
said,
you
I'd
too.
love all right, welcome. I'd love to see all of you on camera, but please keep yourselves muted so that we do not interrupt the session. And Faith says, I can't put my video in at the moment. Okay, no problem, Faith, that's fine. But for those who can, please do. It would be really nice to see you. And if you are logging in from our phones, please make sure that they're on Do Not Disturb so that we don't get interrupted. And try and be in a quiet place so that you can get maximum benefit from this session. So that you can pay attention. And if you heard of similar concepts prior, I'd still recommend that you be here with an open mind because you might pick something that you haven't heard before. Whenever we repeat something, we get something that we didn't catch prior. So be here with a very open mind, all right? And this is going to be, Edith says, I'll turn off my camera briefly. Okay, sure, no problem. So we are going to have an interactive session today. So we are going to be interacting through the chat. So if anybody has any questions, if anybody has anything to contribute, please do it via the chat so that we don't interrupt the flow of the session, all right? So first of all, thank you for coming. And now I have a question for all of you here. Firstly, how many of us are here to learn about how to grow our income? Put a one in the chat. Only Edith wants to learn about growing your income. Nobody else wants to learn about growing their income. Are we all here? Okay, I've heard from somebody else now. Okay, great. Fantastic. Very good. Now, my second question to all of you here is, how many of us are here to learn about strategies on how to grow our income? Put a two in the chat. All right. So, ladies, today I'm here to have a very honest conversation with you all. And I'm here to share with you what has actually changed my life. Now, the news here is that it's both bad and good news, that it wasn't strategy. Now, I want you to know that strategy is important because it leads us to a certain outcome, but it's not strategy that actually gets us there. All right. And this is exactly what happened to me. And this is exactly what I'm here to share because everybody out there is always talking about a strategy. But here I'm here to teach you something completely different, something that you may not have heard before, or something you may have heard before, but you may get something different from it today. All right. So there's always something behind that's doing the work. There's something behind the strategy that's doing the real work, and we are not aware of it most of the time. So some of you may know this, some of you may not know this, that I was in the corporate world for over 15 years and I never earned what I really wanted. So and this was despite having an MBA and despite being a top student in school, despite being trained, all the corporates that I worked in never left any stone untouched in terms of training me. And I was also very hardworking. I was very disciplined. I used to do everything that the company asked me to do, right? And all the strategies were in front of me, but I kept struggling when it came to my income. I wasn't getting those promotions. I wasn't getting those raises. I wasn't getting those opportunities that I wanted. And I also copied what other successful people were doing. Now, who can relate to this? that no matter how much you keep pushing, you never really get to where it is that you want in terms of your income, your promotions, your business growth, whatever it is, your career path. Put a 3 in the chat if you can relate to this. Absolutely. So I really want you ladies to reflect that what do you think really is the problem here? And these are the exact answers that I went searching for after a continuous income stagnation for over 15 years. Now, it was not just income stagnation, ladies. I also had very specific experiences in the corporate world that kept repeating in any company that I would move to. So I want you to know that I moved across about 15, no, about 8 companies in a span of 15 years. All right. So in all the companies that I moved to, I was just unhappy. I had very harsh bosses. I had uncooperative colleagues. I had, fear of expressing my opinions, or I couldn't even speak up when I was supposed to correct anything within the team, or I was supposed to, provide any feedback. I couldn't speak in public. I couldn't give speeches, even if my job required me to do so. And I, of course, following all this, I couldn't negotiate for higher salaries. So, having moved across 8 jobs in a span of 15 years, I thought the next would be better. But what happened? We do that. We move to the next place thinking it will give us a better chance or a better opportunity, right? But what do you think happened? I had the exact same experiences in all those companies. Now, do you think that was a coincidence? Absolutely not, because I was the common denominator. All the companies were different, but I was the common denominator in my experiences. And to make it worse, from out of the 8 jobs, from 3 of 8 jobs, I was actually fired. Now I'd come home daily feeling extremely fatigued, extremely unhappy, because I felt like my efforts were just not bearing any fruits. And to make it worse, I was in sales for about 5 years and I just couldn't sell. So I pretty much failed at sales. All right. And that's when I decided to search for answers, because there were others who had the same level of training and education as me, and they were doing really well. They kept climbing the corporate ladder, they kept getting promoted, they kept receiving the raises that they wanted. So I kept doubting myself. I was like, what is happening to me? What is really wrong with me? Why is it that the others are doing well and I'm not doing as well as I want? So of course, my search for answers went about talking to people. You know how we go about talking to people who've been on a similar path and we seek answers, isn't it? And then I went searching on YouTube, I went online, I went reading books. We all do this. This is very common because there's a lot of information on social media and online nowadays, which is great. But guess what, ladies? It didn't really get me anywhere. And then I finally found the answer in 2021 that helped me get to the bottom of all of my challenges. So I came across a concept that absolutely changed my life. So after I came across this concept and I implemented it in my life, I got my first 2 clients within the first 2 weeks of launching my business. I became something called a Procter Gallagher consultant. So Procter Gallagher consultant is a consultant that is associated with a world-known institution known as the Procter Gallagher Institute that belongs to somebody called Bob Proctor. Some of you may have heard of Mr. Bob Proctor. Some of you may have not heard of him. All right. So to become a Procter Gallagher consultant, I needed an investment of $30,000, which I didn't have because I've been skipping all these jobs. Now, all this happened after I came to the bottom of what was actually not working for me, because it seemed very impossible for me to become associated with a company, that was there out in the West, and I was here sitting in the corner of Africa. And I also tripled my income within months, and I started gaining confidence to speak in front of people without any training. So this is what I want to share with all of you today, that what is it that really changed in my life that drastically brought about all these changes and results for me. All right. So if you can just give me a minute, I'm just going to share my screen. And I hope all of you are paying attention despite your videos not being switched on, because this is something that you really, really need to concentrate on so that you can understand what is it that's really, really stopping your income. Because this is exactly what I'd like to share with you. All right. So I can see Amina Amina, now I can't see your face. Edith, are you able to tell me if you can see my screen, please? Maybe you can give me a thumbs up, or yeah, you
Yes, I
can
can
see it.
see. I can see it.
Okay, fantastic. So ladies, I want you to look at this diagram very, very carefully. This diagram is famously known as the stick person. And this is the concept that my mentor, Bob Proctor, taught me. So he told me, Shalini, that the root cause of all your problems lies in this diagram. So see, here's the thing, ladies. We need to understand how it is that we operate. Now, all of us go outside to look for solutions. But have we ever sat down with ourselves and really reflected on how is it that we operate, that is really impacting the outcomes and results in our life, our income? Because here we are here to talk about money and income, right? So I want you to look at this diagram very carefully because this is where all the answers lie. So if you look at this diagram, it has two circles. The upper circle is a bigger circle that represents your mind, and the lower circle is a smaller circle that represents your body. So if you look at the first circle, it has a semicircle on the top. It's called your intellectual mind. All right. Now you have something called an intellectual mind that is always absorbing information from your environment. So your intellectual mind is that part of the mind that first receives information from your environment. So, I told you that I had an MBA. I was very hardworking. I was trained by all these companies, right? So there was all that coming in through my intellectual mind. This information that we get on social media, right? We are always engaging in social media. We're always talking to people. We're listening to the news. So all this information is coming through to us through our intellectual minds. Now, your intellectual minds, ladies, can either accept or reject ideas. And what do we tend to do? We tend to accept all the ideas that are given to us from our environment. Have you thought of ever rejecting ideas that don't work for us? Most probably not, right? Now, your intellectual mind is that part of the mind that is also known as your conscious mind. Now, what I want you to understand, this is very, very important that you listen to this carefully. Your conscious mind only gives you 5% of the outcomes in your life. Now, here we are trying to get more degrees, trying to get better trained, trying to gather more knowledge. But guess what? All that information that you're processing is only giving you 5% of your outcomes. And this is where I realized that the MBA that I had, the training that I was being given, why was it not changing anything for me, my performance? It's because my conscious mind was only responsible for giving me 5% of my outcomes. All right. And then my mentor went on to explain to me that you have another part of your mind known as the subconscious mind. Now, your subconscious mind is that part of the mind that can only accept ideas. It cannot reject ideas. So your subconscious mind has something called the your fixed ideas. All right. Your fixed ideas actually create your behavior. It leads to your certain types of behaviors. So subconscious mind has a multitude of fixed ideas that you hold that were formed in your childhood. And they're still impacting your behavior as an adult. So these are concepts that are formed in you from a younger age that are still running your life, whether you are aware of it or not. So they're formed from the assumptions and behaviors that people portrayed around you. All right. So I'll give you my example. Now, when I was at the age, when I reached about the age of 8, my dad lost his business in a fire. Now, because he lost his business in a fire and he couldn't revive it, both him and my mom had to get jobs. Now, you can only imagine how difficult it is for business owners to go into jobs. That's number one. Number two, he got the kind of job where he had to work for 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. So, and my mom had to juggle home duties plus deliver her duties at work also. So, what did I see? I saw my parents working very hard for very little money. Now, I want you to know that both my parents had no qualifications. So the kind of jobs they got had a limited income coming into the family. So I grew up believing that if I want to earn a lot of money, I have to exchange a lot of my time in return for the money that I need to earn. Meaning I have to work for very long hours in order to earn very little money. Why did that happen? That's because I saw my parents do that. So that created a fixed idea in my subconscious mind. All right. Now, your subconscious mind is responsible for giving you 30% of the outcomes. Now, another thing that happened in my family is this, because my father lost his business in a fire when I was at the age of 8. He always discouraged us from opening our own businesses. Why? Because he lost his business. So he thought that I should protect my children from the same mishap. He didn't want us to get disappointed and hurt in the same way. So he always said that always go into corporate jobs because your income is consistent on a monthly basis. No matter what happens, you are sure that you will receive an income or money in your account at the end of every month. So what did that do? That limited my income to my corporate jobs. It didn't allow me to expand my horizons to think beyond the corporate world, to say that I can open my own business and earn more money for myself. So, do you see how those fixed ideas can lead to certain behaviors? So, what were my behaviors? I only went for corporate jobs after completing my university education. And I thought that I have to give myself a lot in exchange. I have to work very hard in order to earn very little amount of money. Now, another concept that I want to teach you around the fixed ideas that are in the subconscious mind is to do with sales teams, right? Now, a lot of you may be familiar with sales teams in your jobs, in your businesses, right? And of course, we see that generally around in our country as well and globally. All companies have sales teams. Now, what happens when a sales team undergoes a certain kind of training? They're given a certain training and they're given these ideas that they can fix in their subconscious mind. So their behavior will change, but it will temporarily change because it only gives you 30% of the outcome. So what happens, there's a team of 10 people who are being trained, right? Now they're all given the same training. The training never differs. But how come all of them don't perform at the same level? This is exactly the reason. So the behavior will temporarily change. Well, they will try to earn more sales, but they'll never really change their outcome or results for the long term. So I want you to understand that your subconscious mind, for those of you already familiar with the idea of the subconscious mind, I am not sure if you knew already that it only has an 30% impact on all your outcomes in your life. So here we are trying to do a lot of subconscious reprogramming, right? But nothing really changes until we go to the next level known as your energetic blueprint. So there's another level within you that actually stores the patterns, and this is known as the energetic blueprint. So your body is the vessel of your energetic blueprint. And this is the part that most people are ignoring. They have no idea that there's a layer beyond the subconscious mind that needs to be tackled. So I want you to understand that your energetic blueprint runs your life on autopilot. So your subconscious mind leads to certain behaviors, but your energetic blueprint is the one that's responsible for giving you 65% of your outcomes. So when I talk about outcomes, I'm talking about everything in your life. Your health, your relationships, your money, your income, your productivity, the way you run your business, the outcomes in your business, the way you can rise in your jobs, the way you can sell in your career, whatever it is that you're doing in your life, your energetic blueprint has a 65% impact on all those outcomes. Now, your energetic blueprint creates something called your dominant frequency. Your dominant frequency, if you want to know what your dominant frequency is, just look at the results in your life. That is a reflection of your dominant frequency. So your dominant frequency creates your results or your reality. Now, I want to go back a bit to the subconscious mind. So I want to remind you that your subconscious mind leads you to behave in certain ways because of the ideas that you hold in it, right? So you guys might, you ladies all might have heard of things around affirmations, mirror work, changing habits, vision boards, journaling, hypnotherapy. All that targets the subconscious mind. So when you target the subconscious mind, you only get temporary results or you get no results at all. Why? It's because the energetic blueprint is the one that's actually in charge of creating your results or reality because it has a 65% impact. So the autopilot patterns, so the patterns in your energetic blueprint that create a dominant frequency. And for this reason, they feel very natural. When things are happening to you, when you are doing things in a certain way, yeah, you have certain results in your life, you feel like, but this is normal. This is just how it's supposed to be, right? Because your dominant frequency is at that level. So your dominant frequency is here and you want to be up here. So the change that you need to do is work on your energetic blueprint so that your dominant frequency can shift to match the kind of income that you want to earn. So whenever you're facing any challenges in your life, ladies, you must understand that you're simply holding patterns that are blocking your progress. And you're holding these patterns in your energetic blueprint. So all you need to do is release these energetic blueprints, release the patterns in the energetic blueprint, and replace them with new patterns. But I'm not talking about intellectually. Now, what most people do, they go to the intellectual mind And with just the 5% responsibility of outcome, they try and do, they try and gather more knowledge, they try and implement new strategies. But this is not what this is about. Here we are talking about working on the level that is actually doing the work in the background. And this is how I could drive the change and results in my life. When I talked about the transformation that I went through, this is exactly what I was talking about. So there's an invisible inner resistance in your energetic blueprint that's creating the lack of money, the income, the lack of clients, the lack of promotions, the lack of opportunities in your life. So this resistance is an opportunity for you to move forward. Most of us, when we feel some kind of, so first of all, we are not even aware that we have this resistance, right? This is the problem with most of us, but it's not our fault because we are not aware that this exists in our system. Number two, if some of us face some sort of resistance, when we feel some kind of discomfort from our inner system, we ignore it, right? So we tend to ignore it. But the truth is that this resistance is an opportunity for you to actually move forward in your life. Because when you are aware of any inner resistance that's coming up within you, it's actually a signal from your energetic blueprint that you need to release that certain pattern so that you can move to the next level in your life. All right. Now, I just want to talk a bit about where your energetic blueprint was formed from. So your patterns in the energetic blueprint comes from your lineage. All right. We all have generations through which we have evolved, isn't it? We have our parents, we have grandparents, we have their parents, right? So there's an entire lineage. Now I'm going to give an example. So I'll later give you the differences between what an idea is and what a pattern is in an energetic blueprint. But for now, I want to talk about how a pattern is formed. All right. So let's imagine, not imagine, let's take an example of a pattern called the money scarcity pattern. Now, this is something everybody has, right? Because to some extent, we always feel like, oh, money is not enough. And I want you to understand that if you are experiencing scarcity in one area of your life, there's a high chance that this is going to be experienced in other areas of your life as well. So if you are somebody who thinks that money is not enough, I should have this much so that I can be happy. I should have earned a certain amount of money and then I can be happy. I can do everything that I want. So if you feel like money is never enough in your life, you're also going to think the same about the time in your hands. You'll also see yourself saying that, but I never have enough time. I never have enough friends. I never have enough good relationships. I don't have enough love in my life. I never have enough XYZ. So when there's a pattern that's playing out in one area of your life, it always trickles down to other areas of your life as well. Now, I was talking about where the patterns come from. So I said that the patterns come from your lineage. So I was talking about an example of the money scarcity pattern. So when we talk about money scarcity, maybe 3-4 generations ago, your family was undergoing. Now, this is 3-4 generations ago. So I'm not saying your current family, right? The ancestors that you left behind, right? That left you here, or probably, let's say, going through famine. Now, this is just an example. So you are fine at this point in time. It's not that you're undergoing through hunger and famine, but whenever you get any bills to pay, you start feeling uncomfortable or anxious. So you have the money, but you're still running a scarcity pattern because it was passed on to you through your lineage. Another very common example is if you are somebody who can't speak up, and this was me. I told you that I only underwent this transformation after I worked on my dominant frequency through my energetic blueprint, right? So if you are somebody who can't speak up, there may be someone in your lineage who was punished for speaking the truth. So that fear was passed on to you. So you can't seem to express yourself or speak in front of people. So I really want you to just reflect, right? What are the kind of challenges that you're facing in your life at the moment? So there are patterns that define these challenges. So there are patterns that are there in your energetic blueprint that are creating an unconscious resistance in your system to income, to money, to business, to clients, to promotions, to opportunities, right? Now, I want you to know that your energetic blueprint tries to keep you comfortable by creating the same circumstances to fulfill the patterns that you're holding. So every time you try to, go beyond the threshold of income that you're earning, it brings you back to the status quo, right? Like I was a very good example of that. I told you that I experienced continuous income stagnation, right? If over 15 years in the corporate world. So my energetic blueprint, My dominant frequency kept me at that certain level. It wouldn't let me go beyond my current threshold. And the same thing happened with the experiences that I had in the different jobs that I was in. Remember what I said? I moved through 8 jobs in a span of 15 years, but my experiences were similar. Why? Because I was holding these patterns in my energetic blueprint. The common denominator was me. Not everybody was having the same experiences in those other companies. Why weren't they? Because they were holding different patterns. All right. So your energetic blueprint is like a speed governor. It's like a thermostat in your system. So it keeps you at a certain level. So you try to go up, but it resets you to the default. That's exactly what it does. So if you are somebody who's challenged with income, this is the root cause of why you keep struggling despite trying all the things that you've been trying. Because here is the answer. You're trying things from an intellectual perspective, which only gives you 5% of results. The place that you need to target is the energetic blueprint, because this is in charge of giving you 65% of your outcomes. So I want you to know that your subconscious mind is like a software. All right. Now, we were talking about the subconscious mind earlier. It's like a software, but your energetic blueprint is like an operating system. So what most people who are aware, who have some level of awareness when it comes to, the inner engineering that we have, they're trying to work on the subconscious mind, but you can never shift your reality until you upgrade the operating system. It's like installing a new software on an outdated operating system. How far do you think that is going to take you? Not very far, right? It will only take you so far. So when you work on the subconscious mind, you either get temporary results or you get no results at all. So your current income, ladies, is a direct reflection of your dominant frequency. All right, which is seated in your energetic blueprint. The patterns in your energetic blueprint create your dominant frequency, and your dominant frequency create your results or your reality. So I have worked with people now where I have helped them shift their energetic blueprint. And now they have begun to get consistent income as opposed to getting one-off results. All right. So when I started working with them on the subconscious mind, it was getting them one-off results, one-off wins. Now we have moved to the energetic blueprint level and they've started getting consistent results. All right. So your energetic blueprint, if you do not rewire it, it will sabotage your strategy execution. And this is exactly what it does in your business, in your career, your promotions, opportunities, everything that you're trying to work towards. So it's very, very important that you understand this concept clearly, that the root cause of all your challenges simply lies in your energetic blueprint. Now, here's the thing. Now we are aware. We weren't aware of it prior. So we do not judge ourselves, right? I always tell my clients that don't judge yourself. Be happy that you're aware, observe what is going on with you, because that's an opportunity for you to shift the patterns in your energetic blueprint so you can start earning what it is that you desire. So to put this concept into perspective, I just want you to, I just want to compare it to a very practical example that we all understand. All right. So if you look at this diagram on the screen, this is the diagram of a house. Now, when you're building a home, for instance, you normally start with the foundation, then you build the main structure, you go into the ceiling and you build the roof, right? That's normally the flow of how we build houses. Now, if you look at the diagram on the left, I have compared it to the levels that I have just explained to you. So we have the blueprint, subconscious, conscious, and action. Now, the action is where most people are trying to depend on. They want to take action first in order to get different results. Now, when we talk about action, it actually compares to the roof of a building. So what we are trying to do in our lives is that we are trying to build the roof before we build the foundation. So if you want clear flowing results with ease, if you want to earn more with ease, if you want to attract clients in your business more, if you want to enjoy the work that you're doing at your job, if you want to get those promotions easily, if you want to climb up the corporate ladder, then you need to target your blueprint level first, meaning you need to build a strong foundation. And then you can go into building the rest of the structure. All right. So what most people are doing, the mistake we are making is we are starting at the roof, which is taking action before we go into the blueprint level. All right. So this is what I wanted to explain to you so that you can understand how important it is for you to work on the blueprint level, because it forms the foundation of your existence. Because it is at the energetic blueprint level where you have the magnetic patterns that don't serve you, that need to be released. And this is what I do. I help you access a higher dominant frequency level through the blueprint level that can help you achieve what it is that you desire in your life. All right. So this is what I was talking about earlier. I was just giving you a very clear comparison between what we do through the intellectual mind, what we do at the subconscious level, and what we do at the energetic blueprint level. As I was saying, most of us are going towards strategy, taking more action, gathering more knowledge, getting more degrees and qualifications. Now, I want you to understand that there's nothing wrong with that, but it only has a 5% outcome on all your results. And another one is positive thinking. People have always wondered that I'm a very positive person. Why is it that my results still don't change? I don't earn more money. I don't become rich. I can't succeed in my business or in my career. It's because this is happening at an intellectual level, and this only is responsible for giving you 5% of your outcomes. Then there are people who do work on their subconscious minds, right? We do hypnotherapy, we do vision boards, we change our habits, we have self-image scripts, we do mindset work, we do journaling. All this is only working at a subconscious level, which is only responsible for giving you 30% of your outcomes. And then comes the energetic blueprint level. Now, this is where most people are not going into. This is what they're ignoring because they have no idea this exists. So your body is the vessel of your energetic blueprint. And this is where we have to undergo something called frequency clearings and activations. So the idea is to clear out the old patterns that you're holding and activate higher levels of dominant frequencies that can help you access the results that you desire. Because this is where you can get lasting, permanent, or consistent results. Because this is the place that's actually responsible for giving you 65% of your outcomes. I would actually give it a higher percentage, but for the sake of giving the other bits some percentage as well, I've given it a slightly lower percentage. If you allow me, I would actually give it a 95%. That is how powerful your energetic blueprint is. It's everything in whatever is happening in your life right now. If you were to close your eyes just for 2 seconds and think of everything that's happening in your life, it's nothing but a reflection of your energetic blueprint, guys. It's created a dominant frequency, which has created the status quo in your life. So if you're somebody who's stuck, if you feel like you just can't move, or you want something different, or you want things faster, you might not necessarily be feeling stuck, but you might want some outcomes or results faster in your life, then this is the place you need to target, which is the energetic blueprint. So I want to just give ourselves an example of a dominant frequency, because I talked about a dominant frequency. So how exactly does this work? So let these lines represent different frequencies. Now, we all understand frequencies when it comes to the radio. So this is a similar concept, right? So, if you want to listen to Capital FM, you've got to tune into the FM frequency. You can't log into Capital FM by tuning into an AM frequency. There's a complete mismatch there, right? You've got to be on the FM frequency to tune into Capital FM, isn't it? So this is exactly how we operate, all right? So in the same way, we are tuned onto certain frequencies in our life. Now, I have used money because we are here talking about income, how to raise our income. This is the whole idea behind today's masterclass, isn't it? So you are tuned into a certain money frequency, and this is your dominant frequency. So you could be earning any of these amounts, higher, lower, whatever it is. All right. So let's take an example. So if you're somebody who's earning 250,000 per month, and you can't go beyond the 250,000 or whatever your amount is, that means that is your dominant frequency. All right. So every time, you try to do something, it brings you back to the 250,000. An example is like if you earn more money, you might end up spending it until you reach the 250,000 threshold. right? Because that is where your dominant frequency is. It won't let you go beyond. It just brings you back to the default, all right? And this is how it works with working on the subconscious mind. So if you work on the subconscious mind, for instance, it gives you a temporary result. So maybe you might experience a bonus, maybe some sales that you make, right? You might experience certain spikes in your life, right? Some certain, maybe you receive some certain amounts of money, but it will reset you back to your dominant frequency very quickly, right? Because this is something that's not permanent. But if you work on your energetic blueprint, then your dominant frequency will raise permanently. So your dominant frequency is a reflection of what's in your energetic blueprint. So if you target your energetic blueprint, then you can raise your dominant frequency to any amount that you desire. All right. So if you want your income, sales, clients, your promotions to come consistently, you have to work on your dominant frequency through your energetic blueprint. Remember, your skills, talents, abilities, qualifications only have a 5% impact on everything that you do. I was so qualified. I was at par with so many people. They went way ahead of me. And I wondered, why is it? Because I'm working so hard. I'm so disciplined. I do everything I'm asked to do, right? But it just never works for me. And this is what I came across to understand, that there are patterns that are creating resistance in my system unconsciously that are blocking me from earning the amount of money that I desire. So this is what I was talking about, guys. Subconscious mind versus energetic blueprint. Now, when you work just on the subconscious mind, it only brings a temporary result, and it can only most probably impact one area of your life. So, maybe your income, maybe your business, maybe you manifest a car, maybe you manifest a home. So the subconscious mind is highly used for one of manifestations. But the energetic blueprint is the one that changes everything in your life because it gives you a full energetic upgrade. So, a very good example. Now, this is something that my clients have experienced and I myself have experienced, right? When we started working on our dominant frequencies through our energetic blueprint, the way people started treating us changed. So I'm going to give examples of my clients later. So I have a client called Lena. She had clients who rejected her last year. And when we started working on her energetic blueprint, the same clients came to her and said they want to work with her, even if she didn't have the time. So they were forcing themselves to work with her because her energy and the patterns in her energetic blueprint completely shifted. So she became a client magnet. And the same client underwent a 65% debt cancellation by her bank. That is something that was absolutely unexpected. How did that happen? We worked on the patterns that were dominating debt in her energetic blueprint. When we worked on that, the bank actually sent her an email, and that was not something we actually expected. We just worked on it because I work on standard specific patterns with everybody that comes on board with me. And this just happened to her. She just receives an email one day saying that the bank has decided to waive 65% of her debt. And you can see I'm still surprised about this, right? And then health, right? Health is something that also comes from your energetic blueprint. So when you work on your energetic blueprint, it has an impact on different areas of your life. So you may not have to do anything different when you work on your energetic blueprint, because as soon as your patterns shift, the same strategies that were not working for you start supporting you. So this is how the energetic blueprint works for each and every individual. And the same thing happens to me. The clients that were not onboarding with me previously have now come and they started onboarding with me. When I visit some restaurants where I was not being treated well, now I've shifted my energetic blueprint. I'm being treated way better in the same restaurants. So what is that? It's a shift in the patterns at a deeper level. All right. And the corporates that didn't want to work with me have now started offering me to work with them. So I'm not doing anything different. But what has shifted? My energetic blueprint has shifted. And that's why everything has started shifting for me. All right. So let's look at examples of the ideas in our subconscious mind and the patterns. This is very, very important for us to understand. For especially those of us who do understand what uh, the subconscious mind is about. Now, I was talking about fixed ideas in the subconscious mind, and I was talking about patterns in the energetic blueprint. So, the people that are working on the subconscious mind, what they're doing, they're only working on these ideas. So, for example, you have ideas that go around, you have to work hard to earn money. That was me. You have to work hard, you have to work for long hours to earn money. That was me. I can only earn X amount of money, or I can only spend this X amount of money on myself. That was also me, because I thought I could never have a business. So I could only earn a certain amount of money in the corporate world. And then money or clients are scarce. Now, this is very common because, people keep talking about economic problems all the time. So this is something that's very common. So with repetition, you've accepted these ideas in your subconscious mind. But here's the problem, that the patterns that are sitting in your energetic blueprint as a result of these ideas that you have no idea. So here you are trying to rewire subconscious mind, but nobody goes and touches the energetic blueprint. So what happens? You still keep bumping against the same problems in the long term. Maybe you might experience a temporary or a short-term result, but nothing really happens in the long term. So when you have an idea in your subconscious mind, you may not be aware of this. I wasn't aware of this until I came across this work. So if you feel like you have to work hard to earn money, then you're running a struggle pattern in your energetic blueprint. So here are people on the left trying to shift these ideas through hypnotherapy, affirmations, journaling, vision boards, etc. But nobody is really getting rid of the pattern at an energetic blueprint level. So you're trying to remove that idea, but the pattern is still there. And the pattern is the one that's actually running your results. So you still keep bumping against the same ceiling. The same thing, you have to work long hours to earn money. That's a sacrifice pattern. A pattern basically means you have to give yourself too much in exchange to earn money. All right. So it's something that you're running so deep that you don't even know. It feels very natural that, yes, I have to be here to be working so that I can earn money. All right. And then I can only earn X amount of money, or I can only spend X amount on myself. Now, these are several patterns that are connected. I want you to understand that all these patterns are actually interconnected. And as I say, when one pattern is impacting one area of your life, it's also going to be impacting other areas of your life. Like a very good example of low self-worth is, in our businesses, we don't feel worthy enough to charge a certain amount of money, or we don't feel worthy enough to ask for that promotion or to negotiate a certain amount of salary. And that was me in the corporate world, right? Now, that low self-worth was also trickling down in my relationships, right? And for some of us, it may trickle down in our health, right? We don't feel good about ourselves. We don't feel like we deserve a good relationship. We don't feel like we look good enough. We are not beautiful enough, right? So all these patterns, I can only give so many examples in today's session. But if you're somebody who wishes to come on board and work with me, you will understand how all these patterns are actually trickling down to all other areas of your life. And what's interesting about this work is that we are not even aware that we have these patterns running in us, right? Until we do the work and they surface and they come to show us why our challenges are look the way they look, simply because we are running certain kinds of patterns. So this is exactly how this works. Now, I want us to I want us to put in the chat, ladies. I believe we have all ladies here on the session today. I want us to put in the chat, put down three words that first come to our mind when we think about the amount of money that we currently have in our lives. So are we happy? Are we satisfied? Do we feel anxious? Do we feel like it's scarce? Uh, do we feel like it's never enough? Or do we feel abundant about it? How do we feel about the amount of money that we have in our lives? Can we share on the chat? Like, put three words if you can. Edith, it's never enough. Okay. And by the way, thank you for being honest. Yeah, Meg says stuck. Uh-huh. Not enough. Mm-hmm. Frida says never enough. Is anybody, it does rat race? Interesting, insufficient, limited, scarce, not enough, death cycle. Does anybody feel anxious about money? Not enough. Does anybody feel yeah, anxious, frustrated? Does anybody feel frustrated? Does anybody feel angry? Okay. Yeah, so Joki says I can't even explain. Thank you for being honest. Yeah. Yeah, so this is very interesting, ladies. The truth is that even if we earn the amount that we desire, it's not going to change how we feel about the money because it's actually a pattern that we are running. I don't know which example to give, but it's very common. Like, it's a very common thing. Like, for example, when you're in business, especially, right? You just want to keep getting more clients, right? It's like it's just never enough. You know what I'm trying to say? It's like, you wake up and you're like, okay, so fortunately I don't do that anymore because I worked on myself. I got rid of the pattern, but it's just a repeated pattern where you're like, oh, today, let's say today you got maybe you earned 500,000, and then you're like, okay, now you just want more and more and more. So it's not a bad thing to want more, but the question is, how do you feel about it? Do you feel like it's just never enough, right? Are you always anxious, even if you let's say, but when you have to pay a bill, you're actually very anxious about it, right? And I saw some of you said that you feel frustrated about the money. So I want you to understand that even if you do get to the amount that you desire, because it's a pattern running in your energetic blueprint, it's not going to end. The frustration, the anxiety, the never enough, the scarcity, it's not going to end. So money simply reflects what's going on in your energetic blueprint. The problem is actually not money. It's actually the pattern in the energetic blueprint that's creating that situation, right? And now we are, because of the patterns that we hold, we are unconsciously repelling money. All right. So the thing is that money operates exactly the way humans do. So, if you are generally a very anxious person, if somebody is energy sensitive, they can feel it. They might not even want to have a conversation with you, right? So, yes, it is. I will be sharing a recording. Yes. Okay, sure. So, if you are somebody who's frustrated with money, I'm sorry, I was talking about if you are somebody who's anxious, right? And if there's somebody who comes across you and is kind of energy sensitive, they can read your energy. They won't want to interact so much with you. They'll sort of just say hello quickly and they'll just go away, right? So that's exactly how money behaves. If it feels the frustration, the anxiety, the scarcity, the lack, you know, it naturally will not flow to you. Because do you like being around people who are restless, anxious, angry, frustrated? Do you? I don't think so. And so does money. Yeah, it is exactly. Never thought of it in that way. So it's all energy. That's what I'm trying to tell you. That money is not actually the problem. It's the patterns in the energetic blueprint that are creating the reality, right? So money moves away from you based on how you feel about it. And sometimes we intellectually feel good about it, but we unconsciously have patterns that are resisting it and we are not aware of it. Listen, ladies, I was a very positive person, but I was failing. Oh my God. If you met me, like, you'd be like, oh, she's so nice. She's so friendly. She's such a positive person. XYZ, right? Even many years ago. I'm not talking about the recently. This is like when I was in the corporate, but I wasn't doing well. Why? Because of the patterns in my energetic blueprint. I have just explained that to you. So the more we chase money, the more anxious we are about it, the more it runs away from us. All right. Now I'm going to speak about two things that define our money identity. before I talk about that, does anybody have any questions? You can unmute yourself if you wish and ask. No, we're good.
Or will you explain how we get the blueprint? Are you
Yeah,
going to explain that? There was a question, yeah.
Yeah, so see, it is great question. So your reality is a reflection of your blueprint. Okay, so whatever is not working for you, you must understand that that's exactly what's going on in your blueprint. So the patterns. Now, what patterns there are, you may not be able to pick them up directly, right? Because we get involved intellectually a lot. We tend not to, we are not so tuned in, right, to ourselves most of the time. We are very intellectually awake. Yeah, Esther says, how can they be in the blueprint? So I'm going to come to that. So the best way, so if you remember the diagram I showed you, I talked about frequency clearings and activations. So I am going to invite all of you, for those who would like to change their energetic blueprint, to join me. Now Edith, unfortunately, you said you're going to drop off the session, but there will be an opportunity for all of you to on board with me if you want to shift your energetic blueprint. So it is through specific processes of frequency clearings and activations that I assist people to do this, right? So you can't just change it out of the blue, unfortunately. It requires certain processes that you need to go through. Very simple, very simple. But provided you're committed, then you have it. So your life is just a reflection of your energetic blueprint. Simple, very simple. Anything is the smallest thing, from how people talk to you, how they treat you, how clients respond to you, your money results, your health, absolutely everything. All right, it's that simple. You know exactly. So this is what I have in my blueprint. This is what I have, and you can start working from there. I don't know if that answers your question, Edith and Esther. All right, fantastic. Anyone else? All right, so I guess we can carry on. So I was talking to all of you about money identity. So there are two things that I want to, so there are more points actually that actually define our money identity, but I want to talk about two today. So the first one is the way we make decisions around money. And the second one is the way we view the money that we currently have. So let's talk about the way we make decisions around money now. Against him. So most of us tend to make decisions around money based on fear. Now, especially when we are about to spend on something that we feel that's big for us, right? All of us feel different amounts are big for us because all of us have different levels of lifestyle that we are living. So instead of considering the return that it will bring us, we tend to focus on the amount that we are spending than the expected return, right? Now, this is how money behaves, ladies. Money easily comes to those who spend it with confidence, knowing that they will make more. All right. Now, think of a glass of water, right? I have a glass of water here with me. Now, whenever you're having water from your glass, are you ever scared that it's going to run out? You'll simply refill your glass of water once you finish the glass of water, isn't it? And that's exactly how money operates. But what do? We get so scared that, oh my God, what if my bank account runs out of money? What if I never have enough money? What if XYZ happens, right? And that's how people actually have their bank accounts running out, because they operate with fear. So that's a pattern that's actually being reflected from your energetic blueprint. So that's a scarcity or a stress pattern. Friedan says, will the blueprint shift also break the lineage patterns? Yes, that we inherited. Yes, 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 yes. That's such a beautiful question. Thank you for answering. I mean, asking. The answer is yes. So if you're somebody who feels like, what if my bank account runs down? Then you're running a scarcity or a stress pattern. If you're somebody who wakes up every day and worries about money, getting more clients, who's always constantly worried about things. Now, remember, you're not going to be just worried about money. If you're worried about money, you're also worrying about other things in your life. You might not be aware of it. So you're basically running a worry pattern. And that runs very deep. All right. So as I say, these patterns run in even other areas of our life. Now, the way the way I operate, the way I make decisions around money is I make the decision first and the money shows up. So whenever I'm invested in myself in the last few years, every time I've tripled my income after that. So I make decisions knowing with confidence that I will make more than what I have invested. Right. And I'm not talking about just investing in yourself. This could apply to anything in your life, right? Whether it's the business, whether it's studying further, whatever it is that you want to do in your life. So the point here is that I make decisions from a place of confidence. And every time I've done that, every time I have tripled my income. So the point here is that when money feels that confidence in you, more of it comes to you with ease. So ask yourself, is your identity around money fear-based? Or are you making decisions around money with confidence? Because this is a very, very important part of your money identity, guys. When Bob Proctor first taught me that you make the decision first and the money arrives, I was like, what are you saying? I was like, are you crazy? How can I invest something I don't have? But I'm going to teach you guys how to think beyond, the amount of money that you actually have. All right. And then the second one is the way we view the money that we currently have. So I want you to take an inventory of everything that you possess. How much do you think all that is worth? Because, we are always so focused on how much we want to make. How many times do we really sit down and think of everything that we already own, right? Because we've forgotten about the amount of money that we've already spent and the value of those items because we're already in possession of those items. So that's how the mind is, right? It keeps giving us bigger goals, right? And bigger problems to solve. So we forget everything that we already have. So I really want you to reflect today. How would your life be if you did not have some or all of the possessions that you currently have? How would your life look like, right? So when you have this deep sense of gratitude for everything that you already have, money loves this energy and you will automatically start drawing more of it to you. So I really want you to, as a starting point, right? Before you even go into the energetic blueprint, this is more of an intellectual and a subconscious exercise. Make a list of everything that you already possess. You are already so rich, right? So how do you view everything that you already have? Are you forgetting it? Are you ignoring it because you already possess it? Or are you daily appreciating how much money you've already circulated? And this is what I was coming to next. Is there a question? Oh, okay. I think Frida already answered your question. So this is what I was coming to next, with regards to what I said that Bob Proctor said to me, that you don't need the money, you only need the decision. That's what he told me. So I'm just going to share my story on how this concept actually impacted me and how it actually changed my life. So this is what Bob said to me, that Shalini, you don't need the money, you need the decision. And of course, I looked at him. I was like, what does that even mean? Right? So since the year 2014, as I told you all that I had been in the corporate world for over 15 years. And since 2014, I wanted to become a coach. And I had no idea what kind of coach I wanted to become and with what kind of institution, because there's a lot of coaching programs, certifications available globally. But I wanted to be associated with a very world-renowned institution for a very long time. But I pushed that idea under the carpet because I had no idea how it would happen. You know, we all do that, right? When we really want something, but we have no idea how, we're just going to forget about it and push it under the carpet. But then I met my mentor, Bob Proctor, in 2021, and I immediately made a decision that I'm going to become um, a coach under their institution because I loved what he was teaching. And I felt that this is something that would change my life and other people's lives, right? And I got on a call with them and they told me that, Shalini, you need an investment of $30,000 to become a consultant with Bob Proctor's institution. And I was like, oh, I don't have that kind of money because, I've not been very consistent with my job. So income hasn't been there. So I don't have those kind of things. I really didn't have that money, by the way. Like, I'm not kidding, right? And that is when Bob said to me that you don't need the money, you just need the decision. And guess what? When I made the decision, I knew that this is what I wanted to do. My frequency actually shifted, and situations, people, and circumstances started shifting in my favor. And eventually, through another third party, Proctor Gallagher Institute decided to give me a scholarship for this consulting practice. They gave it to me all for free. And that has never happened. I'm the only candidate globally that has this scholarship. Nobody else in the entire world has been given this scholarship. So, how did that happen? It's the power of decision. You've got to know that this is exactly what you want, and I want this. I have made a decision. And whatever it takes to go towards it, you start making the move towards it. All right. So, based on that, I want to share a few key principles of decision making with all of you here that Bob Proctor taught me that have really, really. So since I started studying this material and I started living it, I started implementing it, everything in my life started changing. All right. Because as I say, every time I made a decision to invest in myself, I kept tripling my income. All right. So Bob taught me, don't wait for the money, just make the decision. All right. And that's exactly what has happened every time. I've not waited for the money. I made the decision. The money has shown up and I've been tripling my income. All right. So the first thing that he taught me was that high learners make decisions based on return on investment and not what they are spending right now. Now, if you remember, I just talked about how we are always making fear-based decisions, isn't it? Because we are always thinking of what we are spending rather than the return on investment that we are getting from whatever it is that we are spending it on. So high learners make decisions based on what they're going to get out of the investment and not what they're spending right now. Because if you allow yourself to get stuck on what it is that you're spending right now, then your scarcity pattern, your struggle pattern will always get in the way. It will never allow you to make a different decision. Because remember what I said, your energetic blueprint, the patterns in your energetic blueprint will always create circumstances to keep fulfilling those patterns. And you keep circling in the same circumstances. So you've got to make different decisions, no matter how uncomfortable it feels. And then they borrow if they must, knowing that they will recover it. Right now, here's the thing that most people think of borrowing as debt. Now, debt is not always a bad thing because money is being circulated. Money needs to be circulated anyway. By taking a debt, by borrowing money, you're simply circulating somebody else's money. It's just that you're not circulating your own money. Money doesn't like to stand still. You know, your money doesn't grow when it's still. It grows when it's circulated, right? In different places that will yield you different kinds of returns. So people are scared of borrowing because they think of it as debt. Debt is nothing but circulating somebody else's money and not your own money. So it's the same concept. All right. And then they ask, do I feel it will take me towards my goal? And this is a very important one. What Bob told me is very simple. If you know that something is going to take you towards your goal, then it's a yes. Why do you need to question it? Why do you need to ponder over it? It's a yes. So high learners say yes to things that take them towards their goal. And then they trust themselves. They make their own decisions. Now, ladies, this is very, very important. This is something that I learned the hard way because I'm a I'm a person who consults all the time, right? You know, I want you to know that whatever it is that you want, only you understand what it is that you desire and you want. All right. Now, even no matter how close you are to anybody, your friends, your colleagues, your spouse, your partner, your parents, your siblings, whoever it is in your life, they are not the same person as you are. Their desires, their goals, their wants may not be the same as yours. So they may not be able to understand what it is that you are trying to achieve. And what usually happens is that people who love you try to protect you, right? They don't want you to be disappointed. And unknowingly, they may project their fears on you. So if you are somebody who wants to move forward in your life, you've got to start making your own decisions. We are not saying that that people cannot guide you. That's not what I'm saying. But the point here is that they will never understand your deepest inner desires and goals. And remember, when we go consulting other people, what we are simply doing is we are choosing to stay within the limitations of what they tell us, right? So if you want to do something different in your life, you must make your own decisions. You got to start trusting yourself. Now, this is another very important one that I was taught. High learners use their intuition versus their logic to make decisions. Now, I want you to understand that the patterns in your energetic blueprint also control your decision making. Because why your life looks the way it looks is because you're not making different decisions. And it's the same patterns that are causing you to make the same decisions. Do you understand? It's a loop. So if you want to get out of that loop, you've got to not allow those patterns to make those decisions for you. So if you hear something for the first time, if somebody makes you an offer, if you hear of a new idea and you know in the first 5 seconds that, yes, this is for me, then that is your answer. Because the minute you pass the 5 second mark, your logic takes over, your patterns take over, and you will not make the decision that you're really supposed to make. So you start getting into the paralysis of analysis because your logic takes over and makes you overthink, overponder. It makes you wonder, is this really necessary? Should I really do this? No, I can't do this because of XYZ reason, right? Do you think what your patterns do to you? Your patterns actually create those thoughts in you because they're in your energetic blueprint, right? So you've got to understand that if you want to do something different in your life, you've got to decide differently. Start using your intuition. Whatever comes to you in the first few seconds is the correct answer. It's because you, as the spirit, know. Remember, your desire comes from your spirit. You would not have a desire if you are not meant to have it. That is the truth. All of you here are on this call for a reason. You're looking for something different. You're looking to change something in your life, isn't it? So start using your intuition to make decisions. Otherwise, you'll get stuck in the analysis paralysis. And then high learners make decisions from their future identity and not current results. So this is very similar to what I've just said. Now, if you want to move to the identity of somebody who's earning 500,000 as opposed to 100,000 per month, you've got to make decisions from that place. You can't be making decisions from 100,000 and expect to earn 500,000. That's never going to happen. That never happens. If you want to multiply your income, you've got to make the investments that are required. All right? It's very simple. And that's what I did for myself by working with Bob. So let's talk about how the decision-making process actually works. All right? So let these lines represent levels of vibration. Now, levels of vibration are often referred to as frequencies. Now, remember I showed you the other diagram where I showed you the 100, 200, 300, 500, right? The different levels of frequencies. So we operate on these different frequencies, right? So your frequency is at the level you're earning at. If you just want to know what frequency you're operating at, what dominant frequency you have in your energetic blueprint, just look at how your life is. That's exactly a reflection of your frequency. So we operate on these different frequencies. Now, your results are down here because your patterns have created this frequency and your results are down here because of these patterns. But you want to be up here. Let's say you're earning 100,000 and your patterns are at 100,000, but you want to achieve a 500,000. What you simply need to do is make a decision. Make a decision so that you can jump onto that frequency, right? Now, what do most people do? They can't make decisions, right? I'll think about it. I can't do it now. I don't have the money. My kids are in school. I'll do it later. what happens? The decision fades and you go back to the patterns that are creating your current results. So you fall back into the results that you're currently experiencing. Now, this is where 97% of the population is stuck. People are unable to make decisions based on the goals that they want to achieve. They're making decisions from their current circumstances. Now, if I did this, I would never have been here talking to all of you. I'd still be struggling in the corporate world with the same amount of salary, with the same amount of struggle and sacrifice patterns. And I said I did not want that. If you want something different in your life, you've got to make different decisions so that you can get to your goal. And it is a committed decision that you need to make, not just a decision. What is the difference between a decision and a committed decision? A decision is where you say, I'll do this. A committed decision is where you take action towards it. That's the difference. All right. So if you want different results in your life, you've got to make a committed decision so that you can achieve your goals and you can start doing things differently. You can start getting different results. All right. So I want to just discuss or rather share some of the common challenges that I faced when it came to decision making. Because I must admit it wasn't easy for me to make decisions. I mean, even now, I have to keep revisiting all this, what my mentor taught me, so that I can overcome the challenges that I keep facing when it comes to decision making. So the first thing that this was an obvious one for me, looking at my situation. What if I don't have the money right now? Now, here's the thing that I was stuck for 7 years because I wasn't making different decisions. Now, you don't have to be stuck for 7 years. It doesn't have to take you that long, right? So, and that's why I'm sharing some of these concepts with you here so that you can understand what was actually going on with me, why I was stuck, so that you don't get stuck. So my first problem was that what if I don't have the money right now? And these are the thoughts that came up, because I was supposed to invest in myself. And I was like, I'd love to do this, but I don't have the money, right? And of course, it felt like a very valid reason. But then I realized something very interesting. And I was like, if I kept waiting until I was completely comfortable financially, I might wait forever because my situation hadn't changed in 15 years. What was then going to change? So the truth is that every time now that my life has expanded financially, it has started with a decision first. And then the resources, ideas, and opportunities followed. I didn't wait for the money to show up first. I made a decision first. So that's where I've learned that the decision first comes and then the money shows up. The other one was, what if this doesn't work for me? Oh, this was a big one for me because I was like, what if it works for everybody else and it doesn't work for me? And then I really pondered over the thought, right? And then I realized that it was coming from self-doubt. The question wasn't whether, the mentorship with Bob would work for me or not. It was whether I was willing to commit to applying what I learned. Was I really willing to commit and allow myself to grow, right? So the truth is that everything that has ever worked for anybody has come from a true commitment. It's nothing to do with whether it will work for you or not. If you are committed, it definitely works. All right. And the other challenge that I always faced was now, by the way, I don't face this challenge anymore. I overcame it. I don't think about things. I make decisions in 5 seconds. I always said that I need more time to think about it. That was my other challenge. I always used to be like, oh, maybe I should think about it a little more. And of course, that sounds very reasonable, right? Because our logic always takes over. But then I'd say to myself that, but I've always been thinking about improving, right? My finances, my life, my results for years. So do I want to continue thinking about it or do I really want to do something about it, right? So the truth is that I only experienced a breakthrough after I stopped thinking about it and started doing something about it. That was the difference. And I'm very, very grateful to Bob because, Bob passed on. Bob actually passed on in 2022, but the teachings that he left me with are still impacting my life. I'll never forget, because every time I've made a decision to invest in myself, I've known immediately that I'm doing it and I always do it. And every time I've been able to multiply my income. So I'm very thankful to him for teaching me these principles and for getting me out of that box of being realistic. It's when we are so realistic that things actually remain where they are, right? Because our logic is always in operation. Our energetic blueprint is always taking us over, and we don't even know. Another one was I'm too busy right now. Well, I was busy because I was working in the corporate world. So I was like, how am I going to go through this mentorship with commitment? And then it really struck me that aren't we always busy building businesses, juggling responsibilities, there's so many things in life that are always there. And then I realized that if I kept waiting until the time my life slowed down, the perfect moment would never arrive. And I was like, I'm not growing younger, I'm only growing older. Is that how I want my life to continue? I said, absolutely not. And it's the busy that the things that are keeping me busy were the same things that were creating my stagnated results. Did I want to keep doing that until I remain stuck? Absolutely not. So I said, I'm not too busy to make a change. I can't be. Otherwise, nothing will ever change. Nothing changes until anything changes, isn't it? Then another one that caught me was maybe I'll do it later. Oh yeah, this is a very easy one to do because it's very easy to say I'll do it after 3 weeks, after 6 months, after a year, and it just never comes, right? Then I realized that later may turn into weeks, into months, into years, and it may never come. And I may just keep repeating the same financial patterns, right? So it was a very big wake up call for me to realize that if I wanted something to really change, then I just had to do it immediately. There was nothing like I'll do it later, right? Because if you keep pushing decisions in the future, you are simply sending out the message that you don't deserve it, you're not worth it, you're not ready. So you're happy being where you are when you postpone your decisions. That's exactly what you're doing. And then I felt like, should I consult my parents, my siblings? So I'm very close to my siblings. So I said, let me consult my siblings. And then I said, no, if I consult my siblings, I'm just looking for a permission slip. They don't know what I want. They don't understand who I really am, right? So why would I do that? Yes, it is healthy to have conversations with the people you love. But deep down, I realized that I wasn't looking for advice. I was just looking for a permission slip. And if I consulted these other people, I might be the person to stay within their limits, within the confines of what they find comfortable, right? So that's when I decided to do something that was very, very different. Oh, by the way, I just want to share something very interesting here with you that I've only shared with my clients prior to this. So I faced a lot of doubts when I started this business from my own family. And I still remember a conversation that I had with my very close sibling who said to me one day that, do you just want to go back to getting a job? Is this really what you want to continue doing? Do you think this is really working? Are you sure this is what you want to do? And I said, yes, this is exactly what I want to do. And I'm not going to let anybody stop me. I have always been persistent and I have always stuck to the decisions that I make. That is another thing that I'll tell you guys. Make sure you stick to the decisions that you make. You stick to them. You do not change them. You change the way things are being executed and maybe your strategies or whatever it is that you're doing, but do not ever move from a decision if it's something that you really, really want. And that is why I say that when you go consulting people around you, they may impose their fears on you. They may come from a place of, protecting you. They may try to protect you, which is not a bad thing. But ask yourself what it is that you want because it comes from your spirit. And always stick to the things that you want to do. All right. That is absolutely very, very important. I'm just checking if there's that is what I am doing it later all the time. Absolutely, Damaris. You need to come out of it because if you keep postponing things, nothing in your life is ever going to change. That is the reality. If you want something different in your life, you need to start making different decisions. It starts from there. There's nothing else. Because you have to overcome the patterns in your energetic blueprint just first by making a different decision. All right. Now, I just want to share examples of the people who, by making different decisions in their lives, have really propelled themselves forward. They made a decision to work on their energetic blueprint, and these are the results that they have achieved from themselves. So Lena is a business owner. She owns her own financial coaching and consulting company. She's only she's just about, are we in March? Yeah. I think she started her business in March last year. She's been working with me since the year 2024. So when she came on board, she was employed. And sorry, she wasn't employed. She has just lost her job actually, and she was looking for a job. So within 2 months of working with me, she got the kind of job that she was looking for. And after a year, she left that job to start her own business, which she never had the confidence to do prior. She's been wanting to open her own consulting firm for many years, but she told me that Shalini, is until I didn't work on my energetic blueprint, I could not do it because she had a lot of patterns that are blocking her. And it felt so natural not to have that business. Like there was an inner urge, but it wasn't happening. So until we did not get rid of the blocks, it didn't happen. And interestingly, just about within 2 weeks, not 2 weeks, 2 days of opening her business, she started getting clients just within 2 days. I've never heard of anything like that before, just within 48 hours. I thought that was exemplary, right? And then she's somebody who was in a lot of debt. And she's the person I was talking to you about earlier, that after working on her scarcity patterns, fear of wealth patterns, her debt consciousness, the bank actually waived 65% of her debt. We had no idea how that happened. We don't know. We know that it's because we got rid of those patterns in the energetic blueprint. Logically, it doesn't make sense for a bank to just come and waive a debt. It never happens realistically, right? But how did this happen? Because the patterns in the energetic blueprint were erased. She was subscribed to the idea of debt, and we unsubscribed her from that. All right. And then, as I said earlier to you, she had clients who were rejecting her, who didn't want to work with her. She was following up with them. After we worked on her energetic blueprint, we got rid of those patterns. We shifted the frequency of her energetic blueprint. The same clients came to her and said that now they really want to work with her, whether she has time for them or not. And she's had to actually start hiring a team for her to service these particular clients. Another challenge she was facing was she couldn't change homes. She wanted to move into her own home. Uh, she made a decision, and just within 3 weeks of making a decision, she actually moved into her own home. So these are very profound transformations that have happened for some of these people who have worked with me, right? Because of the energetic blueprint. It's not me. It's the energetic blueprint. That's where the show is happening from. So you simply shift it and things start working for you. Pamela. Pamela is, I met Pamela at an event that was held by ICE Align Group. And she's actually a leadership consultant. So she also owns her own consulting business. She was largely facing procrastination issues. She just couldn't get to start her own business. And what she was simply doing is she was undergoing low self-worth patterns where she was doing free sessions for people. She was giving away free information without charging them. And when she came to me, we got her going on the business immediately, and she started getting contracts just within a few weeks of working on herself. And she started charging for her services, and people started paying her for what she was asking for. So, what was this? A shift in self-worth. Her self-worth was down here, and she shifted her patterns, her frequency to match what she wanted to charge. When she recalibrated herself, people actually started paying her what she started asking. All right. So this is again simple shift in the energetic blueprint that she underwent. Launching her business, going out with confidence, started getting contracts, people started paying her what she started asking for. Prior, she was not even charging for her sessions. Then she started charging for sessions and she started actually paying her what she was asking for. Then we have Faith. Faith, I think I saw you on the session. You can unmute yourself and say hello if you like. Faith has been working with me since yes. Ladies,
Yeah,
can
how
you congratulate? Yes.
I am here. Thank you very much.
Fantastic, Faith. Faith, today I decided to use your example as well because Faith has been recognized as one of the top financial advisors of 2025 in Kenya by the Association of Kenya Insurers. And we are very, very so proud of her. We are extremely proud of her. And she has also been on these processes where she has been able to upscale the way she has been selling. I think, Faith, you had challenges regarding sales. Remember, your clients were rejecting you, etc. And I think after doing all this work, we've been able to shift a lot of that. So, congratulations, Faith. Very, very extremely proud of you.
Thank you very much.
Fantastic. So Faith is a financial advisor with the ICLIN Group. So that's she's doing amazing. Faith has only been going up, up and up. That's all I'll say. And then we have somebody called Valentine. Valentine is a project manager with the Communications Authority of Kenya, and she wanted to have a certain kind of a job internationally, which she didn't feel she was worth applying for, or she didn't feel like they would pay her what she would ask for. And we worked on her low self-worth patterns. For her, it was a high issue of self-image, which we worked on. And just within 6 months, she actually got the job that she wanted. It's interesting when we were working together, the applications opened up for the exact kind of job that she was looking in a certain company in Germany. It came through and she actually got it, and she was actually posted in Germany for a year, and she just came back. I think end of last year she just came back because now she's being reposted to her local her local posting. But she was so happy. She's like, she never thought she was even worthy of applying for that kind of a job and getting the kind of pay that she got. So that's something that she achieved for herself. Again, shifting patterns that helped her do that. Because initially it was creating unknown resistance in her, which she was not aware of, and we worked on it and it started happening for her. Then we have somebody called Rajeshri. Rajeshri is a business owner in India. She's actually a wealth coach, and she was really struggling to open her own coaching business. And just so for a whole year, she was trying all avenues and it didn't work. And after we started working together, just within 3 weeks, she actually launched her coaching business. And she had her patterns were of, she couldn't speak proper English, looking at where she comes from. But without any formal training, just after shifting her patterns, she started speaking fluent English. She actually told me that she started performing on stage, she started singing, she's gained a level of confidence that she's never had before. And I was like, wow, there is some kind of transformation. And her relationships also change. Now, if you recall, ladies, I said earlier in the session that when you have one kind of pattern in running in your energetic blueprint, um, it impacts all other areas of your life. All right. So she was just never happy with the amount of money that she was earning, the worry, the scarcity, the stress. And the same was trickling down into her relationships. She felt like her relationship with her husband was just not satisfactory. Now, when we worked on all these patterns, everything started changing. Her relationship with her husband, her extended family, everybody started changing. And interestingly, her husband was also accessing this program, and he launched his own real estate business. And within 3 months, he generated a revenue of $24,000. And they were completely shocked because that is something they're not even thought about. All right. So this is what happens when you start shifting the patterns that are actually ruling your life. These are the kind of results that you can gain for yourself. If you're open to it, obviously, you've got to do the work. And then we have Saloni. Saloni is actually my sister. Liz, I think you met her over the weekend, right? I was telling you her story, I think. So she's a business owner here in Nairobi. And, Saloni's been very curious about personal development, growth. Was extremely stuck, in the corporate. We've had similar journeys, both me and her. And she's been the one who's been very, very curious of how to get unstuck. And she went on all these platforms, where they offer all these courses, and she went on YouTube. She didn't get to any of this. She didn't get to the root cause until we started working on the energetic blueprint. And that's where the transformation happened. So as we speak, she's actually converted her monthly income into her weekly income. So she started earning the kind of money that she's never earned before. And of course, our relationship has changed. Our relationship with the family has changed. A lot of things have changed in life. As I said, now we go to the same places, we are treated differently with respect. where we'd not be treated with respect prior. Why? Things in the energetic blueprint have shifted, patterns have changed. We've accessed higher levels of frequency, so life is good in a nutshell, right? And then we have Prashna. Prashna is a clinical psychologist consultant with the FD Shah Hospital, and she was heavy cycles of debt, money scarcity, never enough, always has bills to pay, should be awake at night, worrying about money. She came on board last year. We worked with her, and she had one of her highest paying months. Um, she's now never worried about money. Her patterns about money have completely shifted. She's actually started saving up. So she was surviving on her savings before. Now she actually has money accumulating for herself. Um, she doesn't think of bills anymore when she's awake at she's not awake at night thinking of bills because her scarcity patterns, her worry patterns, her stress patterns, her sacrifice patterns have all been lifted. So all that has completely shifted, and she's actually been able to start repaying her debt finally, which she's not been able to do for many, many years. So now she sees money where she was not seeing before. So life has settled a lot for her. She's even started traveling for international engagements, which was out of reach for her prior because of lack of money. And now she can actually do that. So that's the transformation that is driven for herself. So, ladies, I have a quick question for all of you here now. For those of us who are still here, um, how many of us found this session valuable? Do we feel like we've learned something? Do we feel like we've heard of something new? Put a 3 in the chat. Now, another question I'd like to ask is, if today you are given an opportunity to work on your energetic blueprint so that you can change your reality, be it financial, be it relationships, health, whatever it is. But I know, yeah, Felice says, I learned something. Yes, it's been valuable. Yeah, thank you. Esther, definitely, yes, it was worth my time. Glad to know. Thank you for the feedback. So my next question is that if you are given an opportunity to shift your energetic blueprint so that you can achieve the kind of reality that you desire. Remember, it's all about the dominant frequency, right? Would you take it? Put a 4 in the chat. Brenda says, make a decision from a place of confidence. Do it now. I love that. Yeah, absolutely. Very valuable and eye-opening. Yeah, thank you, Frida. All right, fantastic, ladies. So we are on track because I'd like to invite you to join me on my process called the Money Accelerator. And this is a process that has been super transformative for a lot of the people who have worked on it with me. So I want you to be part of my community if you wish to be. If you do make a decision, it's for anybody who's looking to accelerate their income, to shift their energetic blueprint so that patterns in different areas of your life can shift and you can see different results in different areas of your life. Remember, as I said, one pattern in your blueprint can impact different areas, right? So the Money Accelerator, ladies, is a self-paced online process. So you'll just get access online, and it's scheduled for about 60 days, but you can take as long as you like. There's nothing cast in stone. So it's a very flexible process that you can do at your convenience because you get lifetime access. This is the advantage with all the processes that I offer. And this is so there are a couple of things that I want to mention. So if you are a business owner who wants to attract more clients, if you want to not worry about where you're going to get your next client from, then this is for you because we tend to chase people sometimes, right? So this is a shift that I personally experienced with this process. People now come to me. I don't have to chase them. And the same for my clients. They've also experienced the same things in their businesses. If you are a business owner who's fed up of chasing payments, because I believe this is a common problem where, we get anxious when there are delayed payments. People ask you for discounts or they don't fully value the work that you're doing, right? If you feel that these are your experiences as a business owner, then this is something that will really help you because it's a pattern in you, right? Your patterns are reflecting your reality. It's nothing to do with the people around you, apparently. You start attracting different kinds of people in your business. That's been mine and my clients' experiences. And if you're an entrepreneur who desires predictable income, right? So, you want to wake up knowing that, yes, this is the amount of money I made today, or this is how my month is going to look, right? And you want to get rid of the uncertainty about your finances, then this is the process for you. Or if you are somebody who's in debt and if you're facing financial pressure in your life or a business and you want to exit the survival mode, right? You want more stability and growth. So you've seen how my clients have experienced that. They've come out of scarcity and into a place where they see money. Now they see the money growing. Then this is for you also. And if you feel like the current economic climate is not favoring you, then I want you to understand that once you work on your blueprint, all these challenges that you face are going to disappear because this is exactly what is happening to my clients, right? They no longer come across the so-called challenges that have been posed by the economy, all right? I want you to understand that the economic challenges are a collective pattern. So when you work on your own patterns, you come out of that collective pattern and you create your own circumstances. This is exactly how the process works. It's also for sales professionals who want to close clients easily and confidently, right? So if you don't want to push, to hustle, to face anxiety, you don't want the stress and struggle, then this is a process that will really help you do that because these are the patterns you are holding that is creating that reality. So when you undo that from your energetic blueprint level, your experiences will start changing. And if you're a corporate professional who's aiming for a certain kind of a job promotion, higher income, if you want to be more influential in your workplace, right? Then this is also something that can help you do that. And in general, if you want your business and career to support your life rather than creating resistance for you. Now, remember what I told you earlier that when I was in the corporate world, ladies, I was very unhappy. At the end of every day, I'd be so fatigued, I'd be so tired because I'd do so much, but nothing was working. That's exactly the shift that I was looking for, that I wanted to come out of the frustration, the daily fatigue, and the stress, right? I wanted my life I just wanted to be happy. I mean, we all just want to be happy, isn't it? So this is what this process will help you do also, right? If you're facing frustrations, fatigue, struggle, stress, it's help you going to get out of it. And if you're ready to feel financially stable, very, very important. You want a steady flow of income, clients, opportunities, whatever it is that you're looking for. Then again, this is a process that will help you do that. All right. So you simply make a decision to be a part of my community. As I said, this is a 60-day self-paced process, but you can take as long as you want. It's flexible because you get lifetime access. You don't need to pay again because now here's the thing, guys. This is something I didn't say to you when I started explaining the whole concept to you. At every level of your growth, you have to keep upgrading your energetic blueprint. All right. So let's say today you're earning 100,000, you want to earn 500,000. Okay. So you'll go through this process and upgrade yourself to the 500,000 so that it can become consistent in your life. When you want to start earning 1 million, you go through the same process. So you don't go back, you don't come back to Shalini and say, Shalini, I need to buy another program to do this again. No, you use the same program. You invest once, you use the same program to get multiple upgrades. Does that make sense? So it's lifetime access. All right. Now, when I did this from my mentor, I got 1 year's access. I didn't get a lifetime access. I had to top up to get lifetime access, but I'm giving you guys lifetime access from the go. All right. So what it has 40 of my video trainings. And by the way, ladies, I want you to know that I'm that person who just keeps updating. So I might add more modules in future without charging you more money. All right. So you might get access to more updated information because I'm also always upgrading myself. So whatever I do, I always give my clients without charging them extra. Okay. So you get 40 video trainings to start with over, now when I say 60 exercises, these are not physical exercises, these are not hard exercises. These are just practical question answer things that you do so that you can understand how you need to move forward. Because remember, when you watch my training, that's intellectual. The exercises is what will bring to your attention what needs to change. And then you go into the frequency clearings and activations. Now, remember, I showed you that diagram that was telling you to work on the energetic blueprint level, you have to go through clearings and activations. So after you complete the homework, just 2 or 3 questions per training, right? It brings to your realization what needs to be cleared. So when you go into the frequency clearing, it clears that aspect for you and it activates the next level for you, right? So there's a direct shift in the patterns. And as I said, lifetime access, no need to pay again. Now, here's the thing. The whole package is valued at 250,000. But great news, I decided to discount it. Again, great news. I've discounted it even further. I say this is a very special group of ladies that I like because I know a lot of you in this group, right? So you deserve a very, very good deal. So I decided to discount it further. And I said no, they deserve even better because this is a very awesome group I have here, right? Since the time we've been interacting on the WhatsApp group. So I settled, I said, I'm going to give you a 70% off. If you buy it by 30th March, you get it for only 75,555. But for those who are quick decision makers, if you buy it by tonight, midnight, you get it at only 67,777. And for those of who have worked with me before know that I never offer this kind of pricing, right? So I want you to understand that the only way, ladies, is through your energetic blueprint. There is no way around it. So you have to go through these processes. And what I want you to understand is that at no point will you be required to consciously identify any patterns. Once you do the frequency clearings and activations, they will automatically release the patterns that you're holding. So you don't always have to intellectually know that these are the patterns that I'm holding. Over time, you might realize, but the process will do this for you automatically. All right. And as I said, at a very, very low investment, if you buy it at 67,777 by midnight or for 75,555 by 30th, and you have a further offer. For those of you who do not make quick decisions, I still have an offer by 6th April. You can buy for 100,000. All right. And for those of you who are looking for installment options, I do have installment options. All right. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to paste the link of the program on the chat. So you can have a look at the program. All right. Yeah, Frida, would you like to take it by tonight? You said you'd take it. Yes, I will take it. What's the time? It's 8:50. Would you like to take it by midnight? So these are the instructions, ladies. It's very simple for those of us who are quick decision makers and who are really, really looking to shift their energetic blueprint so that we can experience a different reality, a different income, a different life, right? You simply just send this, send the investment into the M-Pesa pay bill that I've indicated here, and then you can just send me the payment confirmation message with your full name and email address so that I can send you the link. You'll get instant access, all right? And I'll be sharing